So we are continuing to study from chapter 3 of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So we have seen the first three verses tell us about the puruṣa-avatāras, Karanodaksayi Visnu and Garbhodaksayi Visnu. So let's continue reading further. Pashyanti adorupamadabrachakshusha sahasrapadoru Bhujananda-bhutam sahasramurdha shravanakshinasikam sahasra-mauli ambara-kunda-lolasat. The devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of the Purusha who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands. So, this is the beautiful description Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the next verse that in the Vedic hymns, Lord Vishnu is glorified as having thousands of heads. So, this is a glorification of the Lord. We find this very popular chant in Srimad Bhagavatam here, and we also find Garbhodaksayi Vishnu is being glorified in this way. This appears in Rig Veda. The Purusha Shukta prayers, which are famous, they present the Lord in this way. Which is the Lord that the Purusha Shukta is glorifying? It is Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, who is the Lord of the universe. The Lord lying in each universe, Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, it is that who the Vedas are glorifying as Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, Sahasra Aksha Sahasrapat, Saha Bhumim Vishwato Vrita Vritva Atyadhishtam Dashangulam Purusha Evedam Sarvam Yadbhutam Yaccha Bhavyam Utamritta Avyasyeshano Yat Anena Tirohati. So in this way, there's this beautiful section of Rig Veda which glorifies, and if you visit some South Indian temples, there these chants are being sung. So Srila Prabhupada says that first we need to treat our vision. We cannot see the Lord with our present material eyes. And bhakti is the process to reform or purify our vision. Then the Lord becomes revealed to us. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur always used to recite this shloka. Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi, the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Shri Krishna, na bhavet grahyam indriyahi, that they cannot be captured by our material senses. We cannot understand the transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. So, what is the solution? Can we never know Krishna? Sevon mukhehi jivado swayam eva sfuratyada. So you serve. You serve by hearing, chanting, remembering. And as we discussed in the previous chapter, Sri Krishna purifies us from within the heart. With that purified senses, Krishna is revealed. Swayam eva sfuratyada. So Lord Himself becomes revealed to us when our senses have become purified. And in the Bhagavad Gita also the Lord says, I can be known only by pure devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. So devotional service is the only way to completely know Krishna. And Brahma Samhita also says that the Lord is always visible to the devotees. Many people ask, can you show me God? It is not. The problem is not with God showing you. The problem is, are you ready to see God? Yeah, there is, can you see X-rays? But when you take a proper photographic plate and you develop it, you can see the effect of X-rays. So you need a right equipment, the right conditions to see God. You cannot just challenge and ask. So yes, you can see God, but in the right method. So Brahma Samhita say, who is qualified? Who can see those X-rays which the world cannot see? When you develop that plate, what is that compared to? Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. One who has the kajal of prema for Krishna, they can see Krishna. Such a beautiful way it is mentioned. So we cannot see Krishna with our material eyes because our eyes are material and Krishna is transcendental. But if you practice bhakti and develop eyes of love, prema anjana, then we can constantly see Krishna. And there are these great souls and devotees who are constantly seeing Krishna. Okay. And so Prabhupada says, even in this world, we sometimes depend on others' experience to know things. If you have not been to a country and somebody has visited a country and comes back and tells you something about it, you accept it. So Srila Prabhupada says that is more relevant in transcendental subject matters. You have to depend on experience. Like Brahmaji is entering into Samadhi and there he is getting darshan of Lord, of the Dham of the Lord. So that Brahmaji's experience, his pratyaksha becomes your shabda. That is the way of gaining transcendental knowledge. And as you practice bhakti, you purify your senses, you develop love for Krishna, you will also have the same pratyaksha as Brahmaji is having. So it's a method, it's a science. Like, science has steps. You do the steps and you will get the result. So only with patience and perseverance can we realize the transcendental subject matter. So you should not become impatient because transcendental subject matter has a different approach. It has a different method. You should not get restless. I have not seen results. You have to internalize it. You have to purify yourself. Nobody talks of transformation when you go to study a regular, mundane education. They say, yeah, as much as you can remember and reproduce, that is education. But spiritual knowledge is about reformation. What transformation is that knowledge causing within you? That is how transcendental or spiritual knowledge works. So we have to be patient. We have to keep persevering. So the Lord, to those who don't have love, and those who don't have faith, to them the Lord will appear as formless. But to those who have love for the God, for Krishna, He will reveal His personal form. So the important understanding here is Pashyanti Adhurupam Adhabra Chakshusha. Adhabra Chakshusha means spiritual vision. Please remember this phrase of this mantra 4, verse 4. Adhabra Chakshusha. We need the purified eyes. Perfect eyes, perfect in the sense of spiritually perfect, spiritual vision. So Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, unpurified perception cannot reach transcendence. So here a method of purification is required for you to perceive transcendental truths. Purification helps us perceive the transcendental subject matter. Okay, so those who are materially conditioned, those whose consciousness is mundane and material, they cannot perceive Bhagwan. Yeah, just like an ordinary person cannot see an X-ray. But a technician who knows how to develop that. Similarly, bhakti is not just, some people say bhakti is just bhajan kirtan. Bhakti is not just emotion, bhakti is a purification of our perception. As we practice bhakti, we become purified in our perception and we can perceive higher and higher objects, including transcendence. So, bhakti is a transformation of the knower. A lot of times we focus on the knowledge. How can I receive knowledge? What is the right way of receiving knowledge? Bhakti is saying if you practice devotional service, you will change as a knower, and then you will be able to perceive transcendence. So, this is why we need Shastras, we need sadhus who have that drishti, who can share that with us. Okay. Then let's move to the next verse. Verse 5 says, एतन्नानवताराणां निधानं बीजमव्ययं यस्यांशेन सृजन्ते देवतिर्यन्नरादयः. So now we are going to see who is the source of all avatars. This form, which form are we talking of? Which form did we glorify in verse 4? Pashyanti adorupam adabrachakshusha sahasrapadoru sahasrashirsha purusha. So we are glorifying Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. So this form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, is the source and the indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. So all the innumerable multifarious incarnations that we see in this universe, they are all coming from Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. From the particles and portions of this form, Amsha and Amshena, Amshena. So that is indicating a part and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. So the same thing Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yadyad Vibhuti Mat Sattvam Srimat Urjitam Evava. Anything wonderful, beautiful, magical that you see, we get amazed by so many things we see in this world. Sometimes nature is so beautiful. Sometimes one is able to do something so great. So whatever greatness and majesty we see in this world, Shri Krishna says, all of that is a spark of it's just a spark of my splendor. One small spark is leading to all of this. Which is that spark? This Paramatma, Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that the Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva, which is this Karanodaksayi Vishnu, he entered in each of them as the second Purusha. So first, as we saw last time, Karanodaksayi Vishnu, who is lying on the Karan Sagar, is so many Brahmandas are emanating from him. And then he expands into Garbhodaksayi Vishnu to enter into each and every Brahmanda. That is how those Brahmandas are sustaining. And when he enters each Brahmand, he says, oh, this is just full of darkness. There is no place to rest. Yeah. So he half fills it with water, which is his own perspiration, and then lies down on it. And then from his navel comes a stem of a lotus. And on the petals of the lotus, Brahmaji is born. So, and we have seen in the initial verses that Lord Vishnu is not touched by the gunas, a gunaha. He's completely transcendental to the gunas, while others, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they come in touch with gunas. Yeah, we have discussed that. So therefore, all the three, when we speak of the Vishnu that is maintaining this universe, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Who is that second Vishnu? Here it is said that all three, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, are incarnations of Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. So, Garbhodaksayi Vishnu further expands into Kshirodaksayi Vishnu. And then from Brahmaji, there are further so many Prajapatis. Prajapatis are those progenitors who Brahmaji first creates that, okay, now the planets are ready. Now what do we need? We need to populate them. So who will bring forth all that creation? That is the job given to the Prajapatis. And Some of the prominent Prajapatis are Daksha, Maricha, Manu, and so on. They generate living entities to populate the universe. Okay. And then further, we see that this Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, he appears to be lying within the universe, but he is always transcendental. So you might think, oh, does that mean that Garbhodaksayi Vishnu is captured within one universe? No, he is also transcendental. He is in his own dham. The Vishnu, who is the plenary portion of Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, who is a portion of Garbhodaksayi Vishnu or an expansion of Garbhodaksayi Vishnu? What did we discuss? Coming from Garbhodaksayi Vishnu is, yes, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu. So from Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu comes. And also from that Garbhodaksayi Vishnu we saw, from his navel only, the lotus stem comes and Brahmaji comes. So Prabhupada is saying that Vishnu who is the expansion or portion of Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, which is Kshirodaksayi Vishnu, is the super soul of the universal life. So we have discussed they are all three Paramatmas. One is the Paramatma of the individual Jiva, second is the Paramatma of the collective Jivas, and first one, Karanadaksha Vishnu, is the Paramatma of the Prakriti, entire ingredients of Prakriti, Mahat Tattva. And this Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is known as the maintainer. So these features are the original Purushas. And now why are they significant? Why did we understand Purusha-avatāras first? Because first let's understand the cause of this creation. And then we'll understand how does Krishna intervene in his creation from time to time to restore dharma, to ensure the proper governance of the universe. All the incarnations within the universe are emanations from this Kshirodaksayi Vishnu. Is it clear? And then, so this is the Purusha-avatāras, causality. And then from from Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, all other further incarnations are made possible, including Guna-avatāras, Leela-avatāras, Manvantara-avatāras. So then Prabhupada starts to describe who are the different incarnations. In one way, the incarnations are innumerable. In every millennia, there are innumerable incarnations who come. But we know only the prominent ones among them, like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Rama, Narasimha. So these incarnations are called Leela avatars because they take an incarnation to perform various Leelas. There are qualitative incarnations which are Guna avatars. We just discussed Guna avatars as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So Leela avatars, Guna avatars. And within the Guna avatars, we have seen in detail, Lord Vishnu is Ishwar Tattva, Lord Brahma is Jiva Tattva, and Lord Shiva is marginal. He is not Jiva, and he is also not fully Ishwar like Vishnu. He is Ishwar, but Ishwar who has come in touch with Gunas. That's the only difference between them. Lord Brahma is explained to be an empowered incarnation, Guna Avatarana. So he becomes an avatar of Krishna. So what kind of avatar? He's a empowered incarnation. Like, the example is given of Surya. There is a, Mani, Surya Kanta or Surya Mani. When the sunlight hits this Mani, it becomes so brilliant and it shines. So is it the shine of the money or is it the shine coming from the sun? So similarly, Lord Vishnu empowers Brahmaji, who is an ordinary jiva. Ordinary, not ordinary, he's an extraordinary jiva who has reached, he's like, in fact, the most qualified jiva. So, Lord empowers Brahma, and Brahmaji, then whatever he does is like the Suryamani reflecting the rays of the sun. And Lord Shiva, we have discussed the difference between Vishnu and Shiva is like milk and yogurt. One has not come in touch with Prakriti and therefore has not undergone any transformation. And other, Lord Shiva, has come in touch with Prakriti and has undergone transformation. So one has been transformed, another has not been transformed. Curd is the transformation of milk only. So that's how they are both Ishvara. And then comes the avatars of Manu. So in the lifespan of Brahmaji, there are Brahmaji lives for 100 years, and in that 100 years, there are 1,000 yuga cycles, and there are 14 Manus in 1 day of Brahmaji. 1 day of Brahmaji, the duration of within 1 day of Brahmaji, there are 14 Manus, and if you in this way you multiply in the lifespan of 100 years of Brahmaji, there will be 504,000 Manus. So they are a type of avatars. What do the Manus do? They rule the earth. They rule the earth so that dharma is established. They are representing the will of the Lord on this earth. They are the authorized rulers, and each Manvantara has different Manus who are rulers. And so many thousands of Manus, millions of Manus are there during one breath of the Purusha. So the life of Brahmaji is seeming long, but remember what we discussed? That Garbhodaksayi Vishnu enters into a universe, finds it unsuitable, and within 2 seconds, is so within that 2 seconds is the entire life of Brahmaji. So then the number of Manus who are appearing in the lifespan of Brahmaji might be, thousands. But from the point of view of the time scale of the Purusha, it's just one breath of the Purusha. And the prominent Manus are listed as Yagya. There are different, we'll study this in what are the different Manvantaras. And who's the presiding Manu? Swayambhu Manu, Swaro Chisha Manu, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata. So these are the names of one set of 14 Manus covering 4 billion solar years. And after Manvantara avatars, we have Yuga avatars. Within each Yuga cycle, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, there is a specific avatar who comes for every Yuga. That is a Yuga avatar. So what different avatars have we seen so far? First of all, puruṣa-avatāras. Yeah. Then Leela-avatāras, Guna-avatāras, Manvantara-avatāras, Yuga-avatāras. So this chapter is going to present all these different types of avatars or categories of avatars. So interestingly, each avatar for a different yuga has a different color. The different colors are white, red, black, and yellow. In the Dwapar Yug, Lord Krishna in black color appeared, and in Kali Yug, Lord Chaitanya in yellow colored appeared. So this is all what Prabhupada is saying next is that everything about the avatars are specified, everything is specified in the scriptures. Yeah. What is going to be their function? What is going to be their symptom? It's already described in the Shastra in detail. So nobody can falsely claim to be an avatara. We see this happening all the time. People just claim they get some followers and then they start to claim that they are an avatar of God only. So then you should ask them, okay, which scripture talks about you? Do they talk about your parents? Do they talk about where you are going to take birth and what you're going to do, what your mission is? So, we should follow scriptural evidence. Otherwise, anyone can fool us. And an incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation. The sages agree by symptoms mentioned in revealed scripture. So the sages have to arrive at a conclusion. Yes, the symptoms of this person is matching the description given in the Shastras. Therefore, we conclude that he is an avatar. Not that you declare yourself as an avatar. The features and the mission of the avatars are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. So, apart from what we discussed in this purport, they are called the direct incarnations. Apart from direct, they are also indirect, innumerable incarnations who are indirectly empowered. So, those who are directly empowered are called incarnations, avatars, and those who are indirectly empowered are called vibhutis. Like, in Bhagavad Gita, we have a chapter on Vibhuti Yoga. So, in Bhagavad Gita, when Lord talks of how he manifests in this world, that is Vibhuti. And some of the avatars who are directly empowered are Kumaras, Narad, Prithu, Shesha, Ananta, etc. Okay. The main point is that we are seeing that all of this, Garbhodaksayi is the fountainhead, from whom first comes Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Hmm? And from Kshirodakshayi Vishnu come all of the other incarnations. Is this okay? So Garbhodaksayi Vishnu is the fountainhead in the sense that the starting happens from him. From him comes, he expands himself as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. From Garbhodaksayi Vishnu only comes Brahmaji. And from him comes Lord Shiva. So in this way, Garbhodaksayi Vishnu is the fountainhead. And once we have Kshirodakshayi Vishnu expanded from Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, then Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is then all incarnations are his emanations. This is what mantra text 5 is presenting us here. So Lord is mentioned here as the Bija. Bij is, he's the source and he's the seed of all incarnations. He's the storehouse, Nidhanam. That's another word used for the Lord here. Nidhanam means something, when something is stored somewhere, like a storeroom. That is Nidhanam. You are the storehouse. You are the seed. Everything is coming from you. So, Lord is the Amshi. Amshi means the source, and Amsha is the part. So, Lord is the source, and everything, all avatars are expanding from him. Okay, and the vibhutis we discussed, they are like they mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Mostly they are the devatas. That is the difference between vibhuti and avatar. Vibhuti purifies our vision, and through a purified vision, you can perceive transcendence. And what we are studying now is Avatar Tattva. How are avatars taking place? Who is an avatara? So, avatara is a divine descent. Somebody not from this material realm is descending into this material realm. They are not mundane, they are divine. So, an avatara is a divine descent with a specific mission. And we see as we are going to study in the next few mantras, different avatars come for different purposes. Like you can see on this slide, when there was cosmic disorder, Varahadev came to lift the earth. when it from that physical and cosmic collapse. When there was confusion about knowledge, what is metaphysical knowledge? When there was confusion, Lord Kapila came to resolve that intellectual chaos, and he presented theistic Sankhya philosophy. Narad Muni came to solve the problem of karmic bondage. He presented Pancharatra. And how can you perform work in such a way that you don't get bound to karma bandhan? In fact, you get out of karma bandhan. Prithu Maharaj came when there was a collapse of the kingdom, socio-economic collapse. And he, by his proper dharmic rule, he rejuvenated the earth. Then earth started to again provide bountifully. Before that, the earth had stopped providing. Lord Nar Narayan, they present tapasya. They come to teach sensory control. And Rishabdev, he is teaching the path of asceticism, how to become adhira by practicing a part of the path of asceticism, how to search for happiness. Tapo divyam putraka yena shuddhena sattva. So the point is, every avatar comes for a specific systemic disorder. So God is not just the creator, He's also the active manager. Lord creates, and then there are intervals of there are different time intervals, the duration of the creation, and how many manus will come. And whenever there is a collapse, there is a disorder in the system, Lord intervenes, Lord enters into the universe to rectify the situation. So this is our understanding of Lord and his creation. He does not forget the creation. He is actively involved. He's concerned about us in the creation. Okay, so that was the meaning of mantras 4 and 5. Let's move ahead. So now we'll start discussing different avatars one by one, and this will go on till we reach Kalki in verse 25, and then we'll conclude about the science of avatars. So yeah, there's, each avatar has, the leelas that they perform are very sweet, very beautiful, and also very intricate. But we'll not discuss all those leelas here. We are understanding them as what category of avatara they are and what function are they doing. So this is only a brief overview of these avatars. So let's chant verse 6. स एव प्रथमं देवः कौमारं सर्गम् आश्रितः चराचरदुश्चरं ब्रह्मा ब्रह्मचर्यम् अखण्डितम्. So first of all, in the beginning of creation, there were the four unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, Chatushkumara, who, being situated in the vow of celibacy, Brahmacharya Akhanditam, they were situated in the vow of celibacy and they underwent severe austerities for realization of the absolute truth. So Brahmaji he's the creator. He wants to populate the universe. From him come the Prajapatis. But when the Kumaras were born, Kumaras refused to progenate. They said, we'll not, have progeny. So that made Brahmaji angry. So they chose to just stay like young kids, although they are self-realized soul, because they felt that in that age, if you want to be protected from the trap of Maya, it is best to stop aging at that Kaumara age. That is the understanding why they are Chatush Kumaras. So, there are different names of creation, and the Kumaras mentioned above appeared in the Kaumara creation of the material world. Why? They are teaching the process of Brahman realization. So, see, this is the beauty of the creation. Yes, because of our Ishwari Bhava, because of our independent desire to enjoy, we get trapped into the laws of nature. Nature gives us a deha according to our desires. Yeah, whatever we desire, that's the deha that the Prakriti facilitates. So please remember, deha is decided by our desires. Soul is unchanging. The dehas keep changing. As our desires change, nature keeps giving us different forms. But we take this form too seriously. The soul is constant, body is changing. We have changed so many bodies because our desires have been changing. As we see in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Shrotram Chakshu. So, according to your desire, you will be given a specific set of senses. The way a dog can enjoy is different from a way a human being can enjoy. So, depending on our desires for enjoyment, nature provides us a different set of senses. So, the idea is we have to, we are in this realm, we are caught up in karma. Is there a way out? That is the reason Lord sends his avatars to give us a method, to give us knowledge, to give us inspiration, to attract our hearts back to him. If there was no avatara, we would be locked in this world. That is so dangerous. And so, the feeling of hopelessness. So, Shastras, sadhus, avatars, they are what are the only hope in the material world. They come to give us a path to get out of samsara. Okay. So they give up, the Kumaras specifically were teaching Brahman realization, and they were practicing brahmacharya themselves. So the example suggests first we must acquire the qualifications of a Brahmana. We have discussed this. Nobody becomes a Brahmana by birth. You might get an opportunity, but what is more important is the qualification. Have you undergone the training? Have you gained the education? If yes, then you have become a Brahman. Without education, without training, without samskaras, even if you are in the born to a Brahmana, you're still not a Brahmana. You are a Dvija Bandhu. Then next, in the seventh verse, we see Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatal gatam mahim uddharshan upadatta yagyesha saukaram vapuhu. So the second incarnation, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, accepted the incarnation of a boar. And for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. So, as we see that every time in times of crisis, Lord takes a different avatar. When, there was disturbance created and our earth was submerged in the waters of the ocean, then Baladev had to come to lift it out. So every incarnation has a particular function, and all of these incarnations are extraordinary. What was the mission of the boar incarnation, the Varaha incarnation? To take the earth out of the nether, means the lower regions of the universe. And if you have to pick up something from a filthy place, who does that? A boar does that. So the Lord, to be relevant to the situation, Lord took a form of a boar. But what kind of a form of a boar? This is a transcendental form of a boar. This is a boar form which is all auspicious, all purifying. So asuras who had hidden the earth, to show them this wonder that I can take any form to rescue earth. Whatever mischief you do, I will save it back. So that is the part he played. The Lord plays the role of this boar. He doesn't become a boar, he's not the boar. He is playing the part of a boar. He's always seen as transcendental in any incarnation he takes. So this is first we saw the Kumaras, and then we are seeing the Varaha incarnation. And in the eighth verse, we see the next incarnation, which is Narad Muni. तृतीयं ऋषिसर्गं वै देवर्षि देवर्षित्वम् उपेत्य सः तन्त्रं सात्वतम् आचष्ट नैष्कर्म्यं कर्मणां यतः. In the millennium of the rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narad Muni, who is a great sage among the demigods. Among the devas, he is a rishi. Therefore, Deva Rishi. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service, bhakti, and which inspire non-fruitive action, nishkam karma. So how you can perform nishkam karma, you can offer your work to Krishna, yeah, and in that way you can express your devotion to Krishna. So that is how he propagated bhakti. And Narad Muni is such an empowered incarnation, the greatest of the devotees, the pure devotees who we study about in Srimad Bhagavatam. Most of them are disciples of Narad Muni. You look at the range of his disciples. He can preach to a king like Prachini Bharishat. He can also preach to a hunter, or he can preach to Dhruv Maharaj. So Narad Muni is such a great personality. He's the guru of these pure devotees. Even Vyasdev, who is the compiler of the scriptures, who presented Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasdev is also one of the disciples of Narad Muni. So you can just understand the great position of Narad Muni. So he presents Narad Pancharatra, which is an exposition of the Vedas, particularly for devotional service of the Lord. How to practice bhakti. That is the focus of Narad Pancharatra. So it is training, especially it is training the fruitive workers, the karmis, who are attached to their work, who are attached to fruits of their work. How can they achieve liberation? Because they are so indulged in karma phala. They want the phala of their karma so that they can do bhoga. So for such people, what is the way out? How can they achieve liberation? So Narad Muni presents to them. Mm, uh, yeah, Narad Muni is presenting to them that you can perform nishkam karma. Otherwise, any work you perform, you will get bound up by it. Whether it is good or bad, both reactions are material only. And if reactions are material, you will have to continue in material existence. The reaction of good work is comparative material prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparatively material distress. Both are material only. That is the point. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all meant ultimately for distress only. Even if it is material happiness, in some steps it is going to lead to distress only. So those who are materialist, who think they can, enjoy the fruits of their work and matter is everything, they have no information how to attain eternal happiness in the unconditional state. Can we attain a swarupa? Can we attain our constitutional state where we don't have to go through all these kleshas? They have no information about that. They don't have an idea that you can experience ananda of a much superior grade than the pleasures of this world. So Narad Muni informs these foolish fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. Stop looking at indriya bhog. Start looking for ananda. Anand in connection with the self, in connection with Bhagavan. Okay, so what is the direction he gives? That whatever your present engagement is, how can that lead to the path of liberation? Now, if you took a lot of milk substances, then your stomach gets upset. And then what are you prescribed? Okay, you take curd. What is curd? Curd is only a transformation of milk. So to cure something, to cure a disease caused by milk, the cure is also a transformation of milk only. Exactly what Narad Muni is teaching them. That karma is what is causing your bondage. But if you offer your karma to Krishna, that same karma will cure your material disease. It is like removing a thorn using another thorn. So this is the path of Naishkarmya, which Narad Muni is giving in the Narad Pancharatra. The Bhagavad Gita also gives the same solution of serving the Lord by the fruits of one's labor. We have discussed this earlier. This is karma arpanam. Karma arpanam leads to sattva gun. It leads to developing appreciation and surrender to the Lord. But to gain prema, we need to actually perform the limbs of bhakti. So karma arpanam is good for when you begin bhakti. And all of us are beginners, it's initially our, mentors will encourage us. Okay, okay, good, good. Whatever you're doing, you offer it to Krishna. Offer your work to Krishna, offer the fruits of your work to Krishna. That is good in the beginning. Like we discussed, everything is relevant and beneficial for a certain phase. But then you also have to realize that why should I work first and then offer to Krishna? In the time that I'm working, in that time, I'm not remembering or serving Krishna. Why am I missing out on that? If I am a soul, if I'm Krishna Nitya Das, I should constantly be serving Krishna, right? So why do any karma which is not connected to Krishna? So then it becomes bhakti. When you first ask the Lord what pleases you, that I will do. That is bhakti. Whereas if you first do it and then offer, that is karma arpana. And the results are very different. Okay, so this is the about Narad Muni giving the path of liberation to the karmis through the process of Naishkarmyam. Naishkarmyam means doing your karma, Nishkam Karma Yoga principle. Then we move to the next avatar. Turya Dharma Kala Sarge Nara Narayana Varshi Bhutvat Bhutvatma Upashama Upetam Akarota Dushcharam Tapaha. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayan, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. So, Dharma, again, is one of the Prajapatis, and from the wife of Dharma came Nar and Narayan, who is, again an avatar of the Lord. Dharma Kala. So, in this way, they appeared as twins. They're considered to be one avatar only, although there are two individuals, Nara and Narayan, but as an avatar, they are considered one avatar of Nara Narayan Rishi. So, as King Rishabdev advised his sons to do tapasya, that Tapodevyam Putraka, that is the duty of human beings to practice austerity for spiritual perfection. It was done so by the Lord Himself in an exemplary manner to teach us. So that's what we are discussing, that the Lord is very kind. He has a lot of love and compassion for us. So He keeps coming back to remind us. We are forgetful souls. He comes Himself and leaves behind necessary instructions. And then He also sends His representatives. Why? To reclaim the conditioned soul, to reclaim the Baddha Jivas like us from this whirlpool of samsara. Recently, within the memory to everyone, Lord Chaitanya also appeared for the same purpose, to show special favor, Mahavadanyaya, because people in the age of Kali Yuga are especially unfortunate and greatly misdirected. So, to save them, he saw they have no hope. I have to be munificent. Only then there is some hope for them. So, the incarnation of Narayan is worshipped still in Badri Narayan on the range of the Himalayas. So there is this place near Badrinath where Narayan Rishis did the tapasya. Very beautiful place if you have been to Badrinath. And you go a little further ahead, there is a village, Mana village, where Vyasdev compiled all the scriptures. He compiled Mahabharat and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's a very beautiful place. And in that Himalayan range only, these Narayan Rishis meditate. So this is the fourth incarnation. Then we move to the fifth. Panchama Kapilo Nama Siddhesha Kala Viplutam Provacha Surayesh Sankhyam Tattva Grama Vinirnayam. Very beautiful. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is the foremost among the perfected beings. Means when we say we are conditioned, we have to become constitutional or purified or perfected. Lord Kapila is the foremost of the perfected beings. What did Kapila Muni give? Sankhya philosophy. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana. For in course of time, this knowledge had been lost. So Asuri is a name of a Brahmana, and Kapil Muni taught this science of Sankhya to this specific Brahman. Why? Because, as it is said, this knowledge had been lost. Just like Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yogo Nashto Parandapa, that this science of yoga, there were, there were two paths. The ascetic path was still there, but this devotional path had been lost. So to re-establish that path, I have come back. Evam parampara praptam. So, somewhere that chain and parampara, with time, it gets broken. There is some discrepancy, there is some disturbance, there is some discontinuity. Because of that, that knowledge transmission gets broken. And then look at the heart of the Lord, his love for dharma. He comes to fix it personally. So, no, dharma must continue. So, what is Sankhya philosophy? It is explaining what are these 24 elements of creation. You understand them in such a way that you're able to get out of this creation. That is the purpose. It is generally called metaphysics. It is an analysis of material elements. And this was done for the first time by Lord Kapila. Verse 11. Shashtam atrer apatyatvam vrita prapto anasuyaya anvikshik anvikshikim alankaya alarkaya prahaladabdhi uchivan. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anusuya, who prayed for an incarnation. So this is Lord Dattatreya, who is the son of Anusuya and sage Atri. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alankara, Prahlada, and others like Yadu, Haihaya. So this story is described in the Brahmanda Purana. So the Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, and it is mentioned in the Brahmanda Purana. And where Anusuya prayed before the Lords, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, if you are pleased with me, if you desire me to ask from you some blessing, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. So that is the power of Dattatreya. This was accepted by the Lords, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of the spirit soul and especially instructed Alankara, Prahlada, Yadu, Hayaya. ततः सप्तम आ अकु अकुत्याम रुचैर्यज्ञो अभया अभजायत स यमाद्य सुरगणैर् अपात स्वयंभुवंतरम. The seventh incarnation was Yagya, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of Swayambhu Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama. Yeah, so we have seen that, in the life of, in the day of Brahmaji, these administrative posts are occupied by various devatas for maintaining the affairs of the material world. When there is a scarcity of such pious living beings, the Lord himself incarnates as Brahma. So usually Brahma is a position of governance. And to reach that position, one has to perform, it's said that one who performs Varnashram perfectly for, I think, some 500 lifetimes, then they are qualified to reach that, gain that position of Brahma. But if Lord is not able to find somebody who's qualified, then Lord himself takes that position of Brahma, Prajapati, Indra. These are all not names, these are positions, these are seats, and takes up the charge. During the period of Swayambhu Manu, current period is Vaivasvat Manu. In the period of Swayambhu Manu, there was no suitable living being who could occupy the post of Indra. So Lord himself at that time became Indra, assisted by his own sons like Yama and other demigods. So this is, Yama were the sons of Yagya. So this mantra is talking about Lord's incarnation as Lord Yagya, who ruled as Indra. Sometimes this is required, and this happened in the time of Swayambhu Manu. So Lord becomes Indra. This is the role. In this role, he was Lord Yagya. अष्टमे देव्यां तु नाभिर्जात उरुक्रमः दर्शयन् वर्तमधीराणां सर्वाश्रम नमस्कृतम्. The eighth incarnation was King Rishabh, the son of Nabhi and his wife Meru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. So the eighth incarnation is that of Rishabh, born from Agnidhara and Nabhi, King Nabhi. We'll see this story. He is born from the son of Agnidhara, who is King Nabhi, and his wife Meru Devi. So Rishabh is a pure devotee of the Lord. There's an entire section of Srimad Bhagavatam dedicated to the pastimes and the life and Leelas of Rishabh. So, in all the orders of life and all the classes in all the Varnashram, sannyas is considered to be the highest. Sannyasi is by default the guru of all other Varnas and ashram. Even in sannyas, there are four stages. Kutichak, one sannyasi who, makes a simple kutir and lives in it. Bahudak, who moves around and collects alms from a few villages. Parivrajaka, who travels to teach, travels to train people in the science of yoga, in the science of bhakti. And highest is Paramahamsa, completely perfected. So Paramahamsa is the highest stage. This order of life is respected by all others. And Rishabdev was an incarnation. So, Rishabdev, who is an incarnation of the Lord, who instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya, tapo divyam putraka. Why? Because tapasya, if we don't practice voluntary austerity, if we don't practice how to, instead of indulging in our senses, if we don't learn how to restrain our senses, restrain doesn't mean suppressing. Restrain means utilizing our senses in service of the senses of Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Using our senses to serve Krishna. So that is the training, that is the tapasya, and it comes by practice. So unless we perform this tapasya voluntarily, then we'll have to suffer the kleshas mandatorily, because the world is full of trivida tapa and the kleshas. Because if we start with avidya, asmita, raga, dvesh, you identify with something you are not. So it is going to lead to klesh. There is no other way. So if you don't want to end up in klesha, you have to practice voluntary austerity or voluntary restraint. That is how tapasya purifies the self. Tapo divyam putraka yena shuddhen sattvam. So to shuddheta sattvam, to purify your existence, perform tapasya. That is the message Lord Rishabdev gave to his sons. So Prabhupada explained that everyone is looking for happiness, but nobody knows where to find eternal happiness. Those who are foolish, they seek, because they are not able to find eternal happiness, they are instead searching for temporary material happiness. But the point is, and these are all verses in the teachings of Lord Rishabdev only, and even hogs and dogs have that kind of pleasure. Are you also going to stop at that as a human? Then how better are you from them? So that life is not meant for human beings. Human life is meant for attaining eternal and unlimited happiness by spiritual realization, which you can obtain by tapasya. So this is a training. Those who train in abstinence and restrain, they are called dhira. Only these dhiras can accept the orders of sannyas, and they can gradually rise to the status of paramahamsas. And Paramahamsas are adored by all members of society. So this is the teaching Lord Rishabdev gave. And at the end, he himself became aloof from the material bodily needs. And some people ended up imitating him, not understanding his intention and his aspiration. They just externally saw that, oh, Rishabdev is moving around naked like a madman. I'll imitate him, and people will think I'm also great spiritual soul. So imitation can never, substitute for the real thing. Rishabdev was on a path of spiritual realization. His behavior was, that was a manifestation of his practice. But if you just imitate the symptoms without having any ingredients, it is not going to bear any fruit. It is just useless labor. Okay, so after seeing Lord Yagya as the seventh incarnation and Lord Rishabdev as the eighth incarnation, we come to Prithu Maharaj, who is the ninth incarnation. Rishibhi yachito bheje navamam parthivam vapuhu dugdeman oshadir vipras tenayam sa ushattamaha. O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord, prayed for by the sages, accepted the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces. And for that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive. So the pastime of Lord of Prithu Maharaj is that because of a lot of, adharma being spread, there was maladministration because the kings were impious. The previous king, the father of Maharaj Prithu, due to the vicious life of previous king, the father of Maharaj Prithu, there was maladministration and that led to havoc. So the sages, they prayed not only for the Lord to come down, but also to dethrone the previous king. So this is a very interesting story. So the duty of a king is to be pious and ensure the welfare of everyone. So whenever somebody is deviating from the path of dharma, the sages have the responsibility to correct them. So in normal course of time, the king is supposed to run the administration in such a way that the welfare of the citizens is achieved. But the king should himself be pious. And the welfare of the citizen means spiritual welfare. They should all be moving progressively in their spiritual lives. That is what a king has to ensure. Is everyone safe? Is everyone secure? Is everyone provided for? Okay. Now they are in a stable state of mind from where they can practice spirituality and progress in their journey. As a soul, they have been on this journey. As a king, let me give them an opportunity to make rapid advancement in that journey. That was the role of a king. And if the king himself deviates, yeah, if there is some negligence, then the sages, Brahmanas, have the right to dethrone him. And you are supposed to lead in a certain way. If you're not following that standards, you can be removed. So no, power was not absolute. There was always a check and balance in the system. And the Brahmanas themselves, they don't take any position of power. Yeah, because they have more important duties for public welfare. So instead of occupying the royal throne, Brahmanas could have themselves become the king. But they said, no, no, that is not for me to do. I have other welfare duties, like, these sages of Naimisharanya, they are doing this Satraya Dirghaya, Dirgha Satraya. For what? To make a path for humanity's welfare in the future. So sages, the Brahmanas already have an important mission to fulfill. So they requested the Lord to incarnate and please come and become a king. Take control of this administration and the Lord then came as Prithu Maharaj. So those who are qualified Brahmanas, they never aspire for political posts. And then when Prithu Maharaj came, everything, was restored. Dharma was restored. All the virtues were restored. And then automatically, if the earth, if dharma is being followed, the earth naturally starts to provide. And thus, not only did the citizens become happy to have such a good king, but the complete sight of the earth became beautiful and attractive. So, this is a Vedic perspective to governance, that governance is not just about policy or technology, governance is about dharma. If you instill values in society where they don't conflict, they don't, confront, they don't end up with mutual hate and war. If you could give values, automatically earth will become bountiful. Now we have this exploitative mentality, therefore the earth is in a crisis. So dharma is the basis of prosperity. Not just making technological advancement will not automatically lead to prosperity. Technology in the wrong hands is leading to destruction of this world at a rapid pace. So that was the purpose of the avatar of Prithu Maharaj. Then we see this next incarnation, verse 15. Rupam sajagre matsyam Chakshu Shodhi Samplave Navyaropya Mahi Mayam Apadvaivasyatam Manum. When there was a complete inundation, means flooding, after the period of Chakshusha Manu, so we saw 14 Manus. So you refer to the time period in terms of during which Manu's period it happened. So everyone knows. So if it is divided into 14 parts, when it happened, in which Yuga cycle, everyone will be clear. So after the period of Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected by Vaswat Manu, keeping him up on a board. So this destruction, devastation we have seen happens at the night of Brahmaji and at the end of life of Brahmaji, partial and complete. But this kind of flooding, it doesn't happen at the end of every Manu's rule. Sometime it happens. Like after the period of Chakshusha Manu, this happened. In order to show some wonders to Satyavrata. So there was a purpose that the Lord did this flooding of the universe. Satyavrat Muni had a purpose, to show some wonderful things to Satyavrat Muni. So, but Jiva Goswami has given proofs from authoritative scriptures that there is always a devastation after the end of each and every Manu. So, we can understand from these the points of both Acharyas, Srila Swami and Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has also supported Srila Jiva Goswami, and Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has also quoted from Bhagavatamrita about this inundation after every Manu. So yeah, there are both ways to look at it. This is verse 15. So what happened was there was this flood, and there's another version that, where Matsya is protecting Vivaswat Manu. That is the purpose of this incarnation of Lord as a fish incarnation. 16th verse. Surasuranam udadhim mahatnatham mandarachalam dadre kamatha rupena prishta ekadashe vibhu. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandara hill, Mandarachala hill. The Samudra Manthan Leela, which we hear about. That hill, which was made as the churning rod, was the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theists and the atheists of the universe. Where was that Mandarachal hill resting? On the back of Kurmadev, Lord Kurma. They wanted Amrit so that they could become deathless. So Lord Kurma became the resting place or the pivot of the hill in the sea. So Kamatha refers to a turtle, Kurma. Okay, 17th verse. Dhanvantaram dvadashamam त्रयोदशममेव च apayatah suran anyan mohinya mohayan striya. In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari, and in the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. So the 12th incarnation is that of Dhanvantari, who also appeared from the Samudra Manthan carrying a pot of nectar. And the 13th form, who distributed that nectar? Mohini. Lord, in that form of Mohini, he completely bewildered the demons because the demons grabbed control of the Amrit. He said, you sit down, I'll serve you. And then, he tricked them and also was giving Amrit to the Devatas. So 12th and 13th incarnations are Dhanvantri, Lord Dhanvantri, and Mohini, Lord as Mohini. चतुर्दशं नारसिंहं बिभ्रद्दैत्येन्द्रम् ऊर्जितं ददारकरजैरुरावः एरकां कटकृत्यता yatha. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane. Like just like a carpenter puts pierces a cane and it breaks into two pieces. That is how Lord Narasimha tore apart the body of this Danava Hiranyakashipu. Panchadasham Vamanakam कृतवागा अध्वरं बलेः पदत्रयं याचमानः प्रत्यादिष्टुस्त्रिपिष्टितं त्रिपिष्टपम्. In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf Brahman, Vamana, and he visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the three planetary systems, he wanted it back for the Devatas. He simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. Pratyadishtuhu means his real desire was to take all the 3 worlds away, snatch them back from Bali. But what did he ask in charity? Oh, just please give me 3 steps of land. So the Almighty God can bestow upon anyone the kingdom of the universe from a very small beginning. And similarly, he can take away the kingdom of the universe on the plea of begging a small piece of land. Yeah. So, from a very simple beginning, Lord can give you everything. And on the plea of taking something small, he can take away everything. So this 15th incarnation is that of Vamandev. And the 20th verse says, Avatare Shodashame Pashyan Brahma Druho Nripan Tri Sapta Kritvan Kupito Nikshatram Akronmahim. In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord as Bhrigupati annihilated the administrative class, the Kshatriyas, 21 times, being angry with them. And so this is his incarnation, which, it is 21 times is Tri Sapta Kritvan. So 21 is mentioned as 3 times 7. And Parshuram, he appeared as the 16th avatar because the Kshatriyas had become corrupted. And he annihilated them 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas. So when the different Varnas don't function in cooperation for a higher purpose, there is some corruption in the system, the Lord then personally comes to destroy them. So the Kshatriyas are expected to rule by the direction of the Brahmanas and the Shastras. Where are Brahmanas giving directions from? From the Shastras. So to make sure that the Kshatriyas are ruling according to Shastra, that is the role of a Brahmana. So now if they carry on administration in that direction, then it's very good. But if they disobey, go against the orders of the Brahmanas, which means they are going against Shastra, so then they are removed by force from their post. And then an arrangement is made for better administration. This is exactly the premise of the war of Mahabharata. Because so that the throne doesn't go in the hands of adharmic kings. Sri Krishna wanted to establish Yudhishthir Maharaj as the king because he was dharmic. That was the purpose, which we also see here in the Lord's incarnation as Parshuram. Then moving ahead, should be okay. So we'll stop here. We'll continue from the 21st verse. Any questions or comments? Yeah, this is just a nice, overview of the incarnations after understanding what are the different categories of incarnations and what is the specific mission of each. We are trying to list all the incarnations. Okay, we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Dandavat.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.